Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning has been on cultural celebrations that have been observed by families for many years. We've learned about Kwanzaa, and we'll now learn more about the Jewish celebration, Hanukkah. Here to help educate us is Rabbi Shari Shamah from the Harry Rose Samson Family Jewish Community Center. How are you, Rabbi?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here, and I said it exactly what I meant. You're here to educate us today because, of course, I grew up hearing about Hanukkah, and there are all kinds of songs and things that go along with it, but I never really understood the history. And I think that because I've had representatives from the JCC here before, and we've talked about the importance of understanding each other's culture and really diversity and all those things, that this was a great time to really just educate everyone that's watching. So first and foremost, give us a little history on Hanukkah, please.
Sure. So the Hanukkah story is hundreds and hundreds of years old. We go back to the year 168 BCE,
Wow.
and we say BCE before the Common Era. So there were the Syrians who were out to get rid of the religious freedoms of the Jews. And the worst thing you could possibly do would be to go into the altar, the Holy Temple, our sacred place, and really desecrate it. And King Antiochus actually used the blood of pigs on the Holy Temple. It was a terrible thing. It was something that made the Jews want to revolt. And so it was a 3-year revolt led by Mattathias and his 5 sons, later became known as the Maccabees. I'm sure that's a word that you've heard of before. So for this 3 years of battle, really to protect and defend religious freedoms, they were able to go through, and in the year 165 BCE, they were able to go back and cleanse the temple and consecrate it and reestablish it as a holy place. So that's the historical basis of the holiday of Hanukkah. Now, there's a story told that when the Maccabees were able to go into the Holy Temple, there was no electricity at that point.
Right.
What can you do? So they found 1 cruse of oil that was supposed to only be enough to last for 1 night. But a great miracle happened there, and the oil lasted for 8 days, enough to cleanse the temple and enough to be able to rededicate it. And so the word Hanukkah actually means rededication. And that's the history of the Hanukkah story.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And so with Hanukkah, it is celebrated December 22nd through December 30th. So it's taking place as we speak. I really appreciate you being here to tell us about this 8-day celebration. So, and really, nothing can be more helpful than to actually bring items to really help people better understand. So Hanukkah is also known as a feast of dedication and festival of lights, right?
Right, because we talked about the dedication from the Holy Temple, and the light also, remember I told you about the cruse of oil, and so the miracle of the oil is all about lights. Now you're supposed to, on Hanukkah, light a Hanukkah menorah called a Hanukkah, and you're supposed to share the light. And at the JCC, that's really what we want to do. And so we have public candle lightings every day of Hanukkah so that anyone who wants to light the menorah has a chance to do that. When you light your Hanukkah menorah, now again, I've arranged whatever colors, there's no significance to the colors of the candles, whatever I had in the box, but you're supposed to light your Hanukkah menorah and then put it in your window so that you can share the light with the community around you. And I think that's a beautiful tradition of Hanukkah, is really the idea of sharing the light, commemorating the oil in the Holy Temple that lasted for 8 nights.
Days,
and that's why there's 8 candles, but I bet that if you count, you're gonna find 9. So you're like, wait, what's going on there?
Which do you, this one has a significance because it's kind of away from the other candles.
Exactly, you're great. So this candle is called the Shamash. That's called the helper candle, and it is the candle that we use to light all the other candles. Now, to be a kosher menorah, the Shamash, the helper candle, has to be set higher than all the rest of the other candles. It can be in the middle, it can be on that end, but it always has to be a little higher. So we count the 8 candles for the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and then the Shamash, the helper candle.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is the most widely celebrated and remains one of the most popular Jewish religion observances. So when you actually do the lighting of the candles, there is a blessing that's offered, as I understand, right? Okay, so explain a little bit how that goes.
So with all of our Jewish traditions, we have blessings that are associated with them. When we take a bite of food, we say a blessing. And when we light our Shabbat candles on Friday night into sundown, through Saturday, we also say blessings. And so similarly, when we light our Hanukkah menorah, we say a blessing to thank God for commanding us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. And actually, on the first night of Hanukkah, we say another blessing to thank God for getting us to this time and place. And so we say a blessing, and we always start lighting the candle. We only put the candles in for the night of Hanukkah that we're on. So I have them all going now so you can see a beautiful decorated menorah, but we go for the night of Hanukkah that we're on, and then we increase in light each night. And so we sing the blessings, you light the candles, and we put them in the windowsill to share with those around us.
Okay, and so I'm guessing, because I've seen all types of menorahs, that they come in all shapes and sizes, and it really depends. Maybe if you're doing a large ceremony, they're this big, or just this one fits on like a family-sized table. So it's just a plethora of different ones you can choose from.
And I like to be really creative. I think that Hanukkah is a wonderful holiday to really teach children about and to teach those who don't know so much about it. So we have Lego menorahs, and we have menorahs. I have one that's made out of shoes because I happen to really like shoes. And we have Disney menorahs. Anything you want can be made into a menorah.
That much.
And what's a wonderful tradition is, for my family and for many families, we have a different Hanukkah menorah for each member of the family. And so my children get to choose which menorah they want, and we put them all on the counter as we light them. And so you have a plethora of lights, which is really wonderful.
Okay, so I did not know that there were so many options, but I did observe that. I remember seeing, you know, the one with the really large candles in just observing in past years.
And this is a much more modern Hanukkah, you can tell. There are very traditional ones.
Yeah, I see the chrome.
It's a modern menorah.
Yes, it is.
I wanted to be aesthetically pleasing for you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you bringing all of these things. And so there are also a number of non-religious customs that are associated with Hanukkah. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, that's
Absolutely.
cool as well.
So one is the idea of the dreidel, which is the spinning top. And on the dreidel, there are a series of Hebrew letters. So you can tell it says Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin. And this actually stands for a great miracle happened there. And the there we talk about is in Israel. And so a great miracle happened, and you spin the dreidel, and whatever letter it lands on is how you play the game. So we often play with raisins, with pennies, or more commonly with M&Ms. Everyone gets a few M&Ms, you put 2 in to start, and then depending on what letter you land on is how many M&Ms or pennies or raisins or whatever it is you're playing with you get.
So playing with the dreidel is one common thing that the children really get involved in, but also card playing as well, right?
Not so much card playing, but I
Okay.
want to tell you about the significance of the dreidel, because actually, in times where there was not the religious freedom that we hope and we pray for right now, you could be studying a Hebrew code, and if you had a dreidel in your pocket, and then all of a sudden someone came in, a guard came in and found you studying, you could put your books away really quickly and pretend that you were playing with the top. And so it actually has religious significance as well.
Okay, so let's talk about the fact that there are lots of songs that people have heard, whether they celebrate Hanukkah or not. So if you're willing,
I promised I would sing a little bit for you.
Yes, please do.
So traditionally in the song, dreidels are made out of clay. So it says, I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. And it keeps going, and that's all I'm going to sing for you.
Well, thank you for giving us that much, because this is all very educational, and just out of the respect of what's been taking place with this particular culture for so many years, it's important, I'm sure, at the JCC for kids that are probably young enough to talk and understand that you start teaching the principles and the history behind Hanukkah, right?
And what a better way to talk about the principles of Hanukkah through
Food.
So at the JCC, we are all about food, and we are grateful to Ferrante's at the JCC that has prepared this for us. So I want to explain to you the significance, and lots of Jewish holidays center around food.
Food. Gotcha.
It all goes back to the oil that we talked about in the history of Hanukkah. And so on Hanukkah, we eat foods that are fried in oil.
Aha.
So hence we have our fried foods over here. The first is, they're called sufganiyot in Hebrew.
Okay.
They are jelly-filled donuts, deep fried in oil. And in Israel, they are very popular. And sufganiyot in Israel, big business. They have different fillings and they have decorations, and it's just tremendous. The millions of sufganiyot that are eaten in Israel over the Hanukkah holiday.
Wow.
We've eaten a lot of sufganiyot this week, let me tell you. So we have our sufganiyot, our jelly donuts. We also have our latkes, livivot in Hebrew, and these are fried potato pancakes. And then there's a debate. Are you a sweet person or are you a savory person for your latkes? So it's like a really yummy, crispy hash brown. So what would you put on hash browns?
Ketchup.
Which is a no-no for Hanukkah. We're not doing ketchup for that. But the tradition,
asked.
I know, and I was waiting for you to say ketchup. That's why I asked.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Sure.
So we have applesauce and sour cream.
Okay,
So some
okay.
people like to go applesauce. Also, if you're having a meat meal and you keep kosher and you don't mix meat and milk, you can have applesauce because that goes with meat. Or if you're having a dairy meal, you can have sour cream. And so
Okay.
you can be a little savory, you can be a little sweet, and that goes on top of latkes. And latkes really also, like our Hanukkah and like the sufganiyot, get creative. And so you can make them out of sweet potatoes, you can make them out of zucchini if you want it to be a little healthier. I mean, keep in mind they're still going to be fried in oil, but you can make it a little healthier. And so those are our latkes and our sufganiyot.
It all looks great. And I wanted to ask you, because when dealing with Kwanzaa, that is something that people can choose to celebrate or not. Is Hanukkah something that's optional, or does that go along with the Jewish religion? It is something that you definitely would observe.
So Hanukkah is definitely one of those holidays that is in our Jewish calendar. It's something that you would observe. I can tell you that there are different levels of observances, and because of the proximity of Hanukkah to a number of different holidays, it has been elevated over time. And I like to refer to it as a Hallmark holiday because it's gotten bigger because of the proximity to Christmas. So Hanukkah, while it's a wonderful set of holy days, is not our holiest days of the calendar year. So Hanukkah is a day where you can still go to work and then come home and light the Hanukkah menorah. So the idea of the celebration has gotten bigger. Some people also like to give gifts for Hanukkah. For me, and for many others, the idea of giving gifts for Hanukkah doesn't really work. And in fact, what I'd rather do is give back, and that's what the JCC talks about very much as well in our mission. We'd rather, instead of giving gifts for 8 nights of Hanukkah, go out and volunteer and do social action and give back to the community for 8 different days as well. So my kids grew up knowing that there were no Hanukkah presents, but they also knew there's going to be lots of wonderful fried food. There's going to be lots of dreidel games and M&Ms. There's going to be family all around. There's going to be beautiful Hanukkah menorahs. And really, it's a chance to give back to the community and to partner to build a healthier Milwaukee, which is what we do at the JCC.
Absolutely. And like I said, we've had representatives from the JCC come here. We've specifically just talked about how we can work together to really make Milwaukee a better place to live. And I just feel like you coming and explaining all of this for the viewing audience is really one step further in people having a better understanding of each other, culture, religion, whatever it is, but just really being accepting of that and respectful of everything that it has to offer. So thank you for coming by and sharing this all. And I think my camera guys are probably going to want you to leave this stuff here.
Right there for you. They can have a little taste.
And so, yeah, we'll be pinching on these. But thank you so much. Real quick before we wrap up, do you have any events that are taking place during Hanukkah that people can really partake in?
Sure. So Hanukkah is a big deal at the JCC, and as I mentioned, we have public candle lightings each of the days of Hanukkah, both in front of Yellowwood and Silver Spring, as well as in our building, so that if you've never lit a Hanukkah menorah, you can come and have the experience, which is wonderful. Also, throughout the days of Hanukkah, we've had Hanukkah celebrations, and we've done a lot to really invite the community community in. So
Okay.
we're excited to have everyone learn about Hanukkah and learn about all the Jewish holidays as we go through the course of the year at the JCC.
Well, thank you again for coming by. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Rabbi Shari Shamah is with the Harry and Rose Samson Family Jewish Community Center. You can find out more about the JCC by visiting their website at jccmilwaukee.org or call 964-4444. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Happy holidays.